Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Naruto Was in Rosario Vampire, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Can I? Mocha asked. Naruto sighed. Sure. With that she eagerly bit down on his N. About 30 seconds later she let go, obviously looking content. That is so good. Your blood is better than any gourmet meal. Naruto began to rub the bruise on his N. I'm glad you like it. With that she took a hold of his arm and the two of them began heading towards school arm in arm. As they walked, Mocha's eyes darted about looking for any sudden ambush from a certain blue-haired succubus. As they walked, Naruto felt the morning sunlight on his face. His first few days at the academy had left him thinking the sun would never come out. The days seemed perpetually overcast and gloomy. But he had begun to notice that the sun did come out, though it remained overcast most of the time. Realizing this, something occurred to him. Sunlight doesn't hurt you, does it? Mocha looked at him in surprise. Well, because I'm so pale I tend to sunburn easily, but otherwise no. I just realized that you're not really much like the vampires I've read about. Though of course you do drink blood and are affected by crosses. He thought for a moment. Do you not cast a reflection in a mirror? She gave an amused smile. That's silly, how could I put my makeup on without a mirror? Does garlic repel you? She made a face. I have a very strong sense of smell, so I don't like it much. Would a stake through your heart kill you? Ah, wouldn't that kill anyone? Can you turn into a bat? She just laughed. Where do you get this stuff from? They're from the stories I've read or movies I've seen. She shook her head. When I was in the human world I read some of those same stories. Humans don't know anything about vampires. Most of what's written about us is pure fantasy. What about not being able to cross running water? Well, water is one of my weaknesses. If I'm surrounded by water it drains away my strength. What about being uns? She suddenly came to a halt. Uns. She reached up and gently pressed a hand to Naruto's cheek. Is my touch cold, Naruto-kun? The feel of her fingertips and the familiarity of her words made his cheeks darken a bit. See, actually you feel pretty warm. Gently stroking his cheek she began to lean in close to him. I am very much among the living, Naruto-kun. I hunger and I thirst and I feel, I am very much among the living. As she was leaning into him he was slowly leaning down towards her. She smelled of strawberries and her scent seemed to fill his entire world. Mocha-chan, he slipped both arms around her. Naruto-kun, her lips were trembling as their faces neared one another. Morning, Naruto-kun. Out of nowhere Kurumu leapt into him. She eagerly took hold of his face and tried to smother him with her chest. It was the start to another day. Nekonome-sensei turned around again to give her homeroom class a look of exasperation. Whenever she turned towards the blackboard they all started giggling. What is so funny? She demanded. As one the class answered in a chorus. Nothing, sensei. She gave up and shook her head. Anyway, I want to remind you all that since we are trying to mimic the experiences of a human high school that includes club activities. Participation in at least one club is mandatory. After class the various clubs will be having their recruitment drives. I encourage all of you to find a club that suits you. And please also be sure to check the newspaper club which I happen to be faculty advisor on. She turned towards the blackboard exposing the sign on her back that read, Pull my tail. Despite being part of the faculty her human image was less than perfect and an orange cat-like tail would often appear. The class began laughing. Mocha looked over at Naruto. You're awful. He gave her a hurt expression. Or, Mocha-chan, it was just too easy, I couldn't resist. The master prankster had been feeling bored. Pranks were not only fun, they provided good practice in stealth. Seeing his expression she couldn't help but giggle a bit before continuing. Naruto-kun, what kind of club do you think we should join? He smiled, pleased not only that she would automatically declare they would join the same club, but also with the fact that she was willing to leave the choice up to him. The truth was every minute he got to spend with Mocha made him feel like the luckiest guy in the world, and getting to spend time with her mattered more than anything else. Still, well, Mocha-chan, if you don't object, I already know which club I want to join. Following classes, the academy's vast foyer was packed by dozens of tables and stalls representing the various clubs. Mocha being the great beauty of the freshman class, many of them were eager to try and recruit her. The Phantom Photography Club wanted her to become a model for them. The Chemistry Club wanted her to join, promising to make lots of love potions together. Just about every club that spotted her tried to entice her to join, but Naruto made sure to keep them moving. Hello, a beautiful girl with a bikini top and a sarong called. Why don't we swim together? Unlike all the other clubs, her focus was actually on him. Well, Naruto began hesitantly. No, Mocha said, and this time she was the one to lead him away. When they were out of earshot, she turned to Naruto apologetically. I'm sorry, but I can't join the swim club. Naruto nodded. She had told him that water was a weakness for her. Not a problem, this is the club I wanted to join. He brought him to a table with two men sitting there. You want to join the martial arts club? You bet, he said eagerly. When my sensei was still living with me, he taught me all the basics of the ninja fighting style called taijutsu. But when he left, I didn't have anyone to train or spar with, so I wound up taking lessons in all different fighting styles. Tokyo has a lot of different martial arts schools, so it wasn't hard. I am a black belt in karate, and I have also street USD judo, taekwondo, savate, and boxing. The two men sitting at the table were both wearing white taekwondo martial arts uniforms. One was a pretty big fellow who had an eye patch and a crazy hairstyle. He had a black belt. His much smaller companion had an unhappy look on his face and a brown belt. A black belt, the large one with the eye patch, said. Is that true, or are you just trying to impress the lady? Naruto frowned at him. I wouldn't make something like that up. The fellow smiled at him. Well, we'll find out soon enough. If you join the martial arts club, the very first thing you'll do is fight me so I can gauge your ability and assign you your position within the club. I should warn you though, we take our training very seriously. Sounds good to me, Naruto said. I want to join too. Mocha said. Me too, Kurumu said, popping out of nowhere. Oh, and me, I want to join. Yukari suddenly appeared. The second fellow at the table suddenly began to smile. We're going to have girls in our club. The larger fellow gave him an amused look. Take it easy, Taro. He then looked at the women. Have any of you had any training in any of the fighting forms? All three shook their heads. Yukari relied solely on magic and so had never learned how to fight. Mocha actually had more fighting experience than anyone present, but those abilities were locked away with her other psyche. As for Kurumu, are you kidding? Do you think I'd ever have to fight with a body like this? She bounced up and down a little. I see your point, Taro said happily. The other fellow shook his head slightly. My name is Zaraki Kenpachi. You can refer to me as Kenpachi Senpai. I am the leader of the martial arts club, and you ladies are welcome to join so long as you understand you'll be expected to work hard on developing your fighting skills. We study the human fighting arts in order to be better able to defend ourselves when we must be in human form, as well as to improve our fighting ability when in our true form. If any of you plan on joining just to take it easy, you can forget it. Ours is a demanding club and I won't put up with slackers. Don't worry, we'll definitely be able to handle whatever you can dish out. Naruto said excitedly. He loved hard training and he loved anything to do with fighting. Kenpachi and his club sounded like a dream come true. The girls were less sure, especially Kurumu and Yukari, but they all nodded. Seeing Naruto's enthusiasm, they were ready to at least try. All right then, Kenpachi said. Welcome to the martial arts club. We meet for 1 hour each day after class and for 6 hours each Saturday. Report to room 121 tomorrow after class and we'll begin your initiation. The next day the four of them came to room 121. It was a large single room that had been converted over to a dojo. The room was located near the gym and so they were able to use the locker rooms to change into their white taekwondo martial arts uniforms. There were a total of 5 members. Besides Kenpachi's black belt and Taro's brown, 2 members wore green belts and 1 blue. Now then, Kenpachi strode to the middle of the room. I'm going to test each of you to determine your position. He grinned at Naruto. Let's start with you, mister. I am a black belt. The rules are simple. All you have to do is come at me as hard as you can. I won't do anything but defend myself. Oh. Okay. Naruto needed no more invitation than that. He launched himself at Kenpachi with a swift series of kicks and punches. Almost immediately a look of real surprise filled the man's face. It was replaced almost as quickly by one of pleasure as he had to work to keep from being struck. Naruto was surprised that for such a big fellow Kenpachi was also very fast and light on his feet. He had expected at least a few of his opening series of attacks to get through, but they'd all been blocked. To those watching, the display of speed and power was impressive even without any hits being scored. To the original members of the club it was especially impressive as they could recognize Naruto's skill as above that of anyone but Kenpachi's. Yahoo! Go Naruto! Kurumu cheered loudly. Yeah, do your best Naruto-kun, Mocha shouted while Yukari whistled and yelled. While this was going on, Naruto was quickly realizing he was never going to get through relying solely on speed. So he decided to try a well-disguised feint. He came at Kenpachi again as though aiming for a jab at his chest. He kept his moves consistent with a jab, but the last possible second twisted on his right foot and brought his left leg around for a kick. Kenpachi saw it and dropped his left arm to block, but not quite fast enough. Naruto's foot landed a clean hit on his lower ribs. He wasn't sure how much of a victory it was. He felt as though he had just kicked a brick wall. It reminded him of Seizu in monster form, the difference here being of course that Kenpachi was still in his human form. Naruto might have been unsure if getting in one hit was any sort of accomplishment, but hearing all the club members suddenly gasp made him suspect it might be. Kenpachi's reaction was also noteworthy. He began laughing. All right, he held up his hands. You've convinced me, you're a black belt. And since you are, that automatically makes you number 2 in the club and my lieutenant. Congratulations. He slapped a hand down on Naruto's shoulder and Naruto only just managed not to fall over. What? Taro shouted in disbelief. But Kenpachi-senpai, I'm your lieutenant. How can you put someone who just showed up ahead of me? Kenpachi frowned at him. Easy, he's better than you. In 2 years you haven't managed to hit me even once. He managed it his very first time out. You know the rules, skill is the only thing that counts and he's got better SKS. Hearing praise, Naruto smiled and drank it in, completely missing the dark look Taro sent his way. Mocha noticed it. Alright, let's have the pink-haired girl go next. Mocha did her best. She attacked earnestly and with greater physical power than Naruto. But in her current form she lacked the necessary experience or ferocity to be any sort of threat. Kenpachi was not impressed and called a halt to the match after 2 minutes. Yellow belt, he declared. That's one step above untrained apprentice. Blue-haired girl, it's your turn. Yahoo! Prepare to face the most awesome succubus technique. She took a spot 5 feet in front of him, and began doing a series of jumping jacks. Kenpachi just stared at her. What the hell are you doing, girl? This is the martial arts club, not the calisthenics club. Ha! No man can resist this powerful technique. So amazing, Taro said in a half-dazed voice. The other members murmured their agreement as none of them could look away. Kenpachi shook his head in disgust. White belt, he said. Is that good? Kurumu asked. It's the lowest possible rank reserved for the untrained, now the little girl. But, Kurumu started to argue, but a glare from Kenpachi was enough to quiet her down. Never one for confrontations without her wand, Yukari stepped forward timidly. She just stood there, all 4.5 feet of her staring up at the near 7 feet of her opponent. Well, are you going to attack me? I'd really rather not, Yukari admitted. Kenpachi sighed. White belt. Most of the remainder of the hour was spent going over the club rules and showing the new member a few basic exercises. Heading back to the dorms with Mocha, Naruto was in fine spirits. I'm really glad we joined him, aren't you, Mocha-chan? She answered warily. I am glad you're happy, Naruto-kun, but I don't like the way Taro-san was looking at you. Naruto shrugged. Well, I took his spot. You can't really blame him for being mad. I'm sure he'll get over it. Let's hope so, she said quietly. Along with homeroom, Naruto and Mocha shared the first and last class of the day. Mocha really liked that arrangement since it meant she could be with Naruto from the beginning of the last class through to the end of the day. So she was a bit surprised when on the following day she spotted Naruto heading in the opposite direction as the last class was about to start. She tried to call out to him but he didn't hear her. Naruto entered room 121 to find Taro waiting for him. What's so important that it couldn't wait until after class? Taro glared at him and Naruto immediately understood this had nothing to do with the club. Oh, okay. Let me guess, you're mad that I took your spot and you want to fight me over it. Mad doesn't begin to describe it, half-breed. I worked for 2 years to earn my place as Kenpachi-senpai's lieutenant and you just waltz in here and snatch it away from me in a day. You really think I'll let one of your kind just take what's mine? Oh, okay. First off, I didn't set off to take anything from you or anyone else. All I'm trying to do is find my own place. I was told to fight as hard as I could and that's what I did. The skills I have were earned from years of sweat and commitment and I don't apologize for them. You arrogant piece of crap, thinking you could ever measure up to a true monster. I'll show you what all your skill is worth. His shape began to expand as his school uniform tore apart. Taro transformed into a creature that half bull half man, a minotaur. Don't the club rules require all fights to be in human form? Never mind that you're also breaking the school rules. I don't give a damn about the rules, Taro snorted. All I care about is proving to Kenpachi-senpai who truly deserves to be his second in command. Naruto took out his kunai seeing as this was not going to just be a spar. So let me just get this straight, you're ready to break the school rules and me also you can be the number 2 man in a club with a total of 9 members. And if you me it'll be down to 8. Doesn't that seem a little extreme to you? Shut up. Taro roared and charged at him with his head lowered. Good answer. Naruto quickly sidestepped and dodged, avoiding Taro just as he might have a charging bull. As he went past, Taro swiped at him with an arm. It smacked him on the back and sent him tumbling to the ground. Naruto-kun. A girl's voice shouted from the door. As he got back to his feet he looked up to see Mocha hurrying to him. Mocha-chan, what are you doing here? When I saw you heading in this direction instead of towards class 1, guessed where you were coming. Quick, pull my rosary off so I can help you, I can't remove it myself. She was surprised when instead of doing that Naruto shook his head. Mocha-chan, get out of here, I'll handle this. What? Listen to him, girl, I really like you and don't want you to be hurt along with the half-breed. He lowered his head and charged again. Naruto leapt away from her to make sure Mocha was not accidentally in danger. Taro raced towards him, aiming his 2 horns at the middle of Naruto's chest. Naruto stood his ground. At the last possible instant he sidestepped the horns and lashed out with a kunai for his opponent's en. The blade struck its target but did not cut. Meanwhile Taro was able to lash out with his right arm and catch him. Naruto was sent flying into the far wall. Naruto-kun. Mocha quickly got to his side. With a slight grunt he got back to his feet. I'm all right. Naruto-kun, let me help you. He shook his head. I can't depend on others to fight for me, Mocha-chan. I need to fight my own battles. Frowning, she grabbed his hand. I don't care about that. Before he realized it, she brought it up to her chest. His fingers entangled with the rosary and it popped off immediately. The entire room seemed to be filled with demonic aura and power as Mocha transformed into her true vampiric form. Taro stood where he was frozen in terror at the sight of an actual vampire. Well then, Mocha teased. Aren't you going to attack me? I really don't want to fight you. No, you only wish to attack those you think weaker. What one would expect from a pathetic little coward. In a heartbeat she crossed the distance between them and struck the side of his head with a vicious and perfectly delivered kick. One of his horns broke off as he was sent crashing to the floor, beaten and unconscious. Know your place. As she walked back over to him, Naruto felt embarrassed at again having to be saved. Thanks, Mocha-chan. He never even saw her hand as she slapped him. She hit him a lot harder than Taro had and he found himself back on the floor staring up at her angry face. What was that for? He began to rub a very sore cheek. Do not refer to me in such a familiar manner, Uzumaki Naruto, you have not earned that right. She said angrily. I am not the same as the other sentimental Mocha. He slowly nodded. I apologize, Mocha-san. She crossed her arms over her chest. Why did you refuse my aid, Uzumaki Naruto? Because a ninja should not rely on anyone else's strength. You are a fool, Uzumaki Naruto. It does not lessen you to accept help from others. And did it not occur to you what would have happened if the other Mocha had seen you seriously hurt or even cared after refusing her help? To the other Mocha there is nothing more precious than you. Were she to lose you, her heart would shatter. It would. Naruto thought. Am I really that important to her? Mocha spotted the rosary and picked it up from the floor. You claim to care about the other Mocha. If that is so, then remember what I have said to you today, and know your place. She put the rosary back on the end of her chain. The power drained from her and she became an unconscious teenage Mocha. Naruto had to jump up to catch her before she fell. When Naruto reported the attack by Taro, he was rather surprised to learn his punishment would only be a 2-week suspension. Kenpachi didn't even throw him out of the club, though he did promise to demote him to white belt. Apparently in the supernatural world violence was far more accepted than in the human one. Following a rather abbreviated club session, he and Mocha headed back to the dorms. Unlike the normal routine, they were not walking arm in arm and there was an awkward silence between them. Finally, as they were almost back, Naruto spoke up and asked something that had been on his mind. Mocha-chan. Yes. Do you, remember the things your other self does? She slowly nodded. Yes, I do, and I am very sorry that she slapped you, Naruto-kun. No, I guess I deserved it. I'm the one who should be apologizing. I'm sorry I refused your help. I guess I'm just not used to having people I can trust. She stopped and reached out to take a hold of his hand. Naruto-kun, I will always be there to help you when you need me. He gave her hand a gentle squeeze. Thanks, Mocha-chan. He hesitated for just a bit. Say, Mocha-chan, there was something I was wondering about. Before I get ready for class, I'd like to do some training, and it would really help me if I had a training and sparring partner. If it's not asking too much, would you like to join me? She slowly gave him a shy smile. I'd be happy to. Thank you, Mocha-chan. He carefully slipped his fingers between hers and they began to walk hand in hand. And just so you know, he said quietly, if anything ever happened to you, my heart would shatter too. Her face turned a deep red and she had to look away. But hearing him say that made her feel very, very happy. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.